A row has erupted after US President Donald Trump's comment on India's air being filthy. Speaking at the final US presidential debate, Trump described the air in India, China and Russia as filthy as he defended his decision to withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord. In fact, Trump has said that the accord would have made America a non-competitive nation. These comments were made while Trump attacked Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden on climate change. Joe's campaign team later posted a Modi-Trump hug picture, sarcastically calling it a hug with Modi from filthy India. Congress leader Kapil Sibal used Trump's remarks to take a potshot at Prime Minister Modi, who has often addressed Trump as a friend and said that was a result of Howdy Modi. Trump's remarks comes days before US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo will visit Delhi for talks on building US-India partnership.
Look at China, how filthy it is. Look at Russia. Look at India. It's filthy. The air is filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars, and we were treated very unfairly. When they put us in there, they did us a great disservice. They were going to take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord.
To make such remarks about the biggest democracy of the world is wholly uncharitable and unpalatable. We hope that Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, who only does puppy jhappi to Donald Trump ji, he will take note of such remarks and lodge the India's protests to United States of America, who's our friend and ally.
Cutting across to Geeta Mohan, joining us for more details. Geeta, here on one hand, you have Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump. They're bonhomie like never before. The relations between India and the United States have been possibly the best in recent times. At a time like this, Trump mentions India while he takes China and Russia's name, describing air quality as filthy. Very insulting way of saying it at the presidential debate. But nonetheless, the question remains, did he say something wrong at all?
Well, Nabila, it is very clear that President Trump in his presidential debate is leaving no stone unturned to attack the opposition party. And in that, if they have to say that he has done a lot and compare it to other countries, he's going to do that. This is not the first time that he's trashed India. He did that in the first debate as well, and this time around as well. But what is important to note over here is that it comes ahead of Mark Esper and Secretary Pompeo's visit to India. The Defense Secretary and the US Secretary of State both are going to be visiting India for the 2+2 ministerial meeting. We'll have to wait and see how that impacts, or whether it is going to have any impact at all on the bilateral relations and talks, given that there is a set agenda for the there are important agreements that could come through in this visit. And so we know the Indian side also knows where really comes from on these matters. But look at the Democrats. They're using it to their advantage. The posters now have Trump and Modi hugging, saying that this is the man who called India filthy, and trying to garner the Indian American votes. So that is really going to be critical, how the Democrats are now going to use his statements, his anti-India statements, to garner the Indian American votes.
Right, Geeta, thank you very much for joining us with those details on that. Now, the US President Donald Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden faced off in their final debate ahead of the November 3rd elections. Coronavirus was the central point of the debate, with Trump claiming that he took the coronavirus vaccine and promising that it will be made available in weeks' time. In fact, Biden accused Trump of downplaying the risk and saying that people are now learning to die with the virus rather than live with it. The two also clashed over Joe's son, Hunter Biden's business interests in Ukraine. Trump alleged that Biden personally profited from his son's business dealings in Ukraine as well as in China. Biden's defense was to change the subject to Trump's taxes and the president's own ties with China. He questioned Trump's China bank account, to which Trump replied that he closed the account back in 2015, even before he ran for polls.
We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is going to distribute the vaccine. I can tell you from personal experience that I was in the hospital. I had it, and I got better. And I will tell you that I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it was a cure. But I was in for a short period of time, and I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight. And now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune.
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it, know it, look at it, go through all the processes. And by the way, this is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter. And he has no clear plan, and there's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
I prepaid millions and millions of dollars in taxes, number one. Number two, I don't make money from China. You do. I don't make money from Ukraine. You do. I don't make money from Russia. You made $3.5 million, Joe, and your son gave you. They even have a statement that we have to give 10% to the big man. You're the big man, I think. I don't know, maybe you're not, but you're the big man, I think. Your son said we have to give 10% to the big man. Joe, what's that all about? It's terrible.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life. We learned that this president paid 50 times the tax in China, has a secret bank account with China, does business in China, and in fact is talking about me taking money. I have not taken a single penny from any country whatsoever, ever, number one. Number two, this is a president, I have released all of my tax returns, 22 years. Go look at them. 22 years of my tax return. You have not released a single solitary year of your tax return. What are you hiding? Why are you unwilling? The foreign countries are paying you a lot. Russia's paying you a lot. China's paying you a lot. And your hotels and all your businesses all around the country, all around the world. And China's building a new road to a new a golf course you have overseas. So what's going on here? Why don't release your tax return or stop talking about corruption?
As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
Well, what do you say to Americans who are concerned by that rhetoric?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say. I got criminal justice reform done and prison reform and opportunity zones. I took care of black colleges and universities. I don't know what to say. They can say anything. I mean, they can say anything. It makes me sad because I am the least racist person. I can't even see the audience because it's so dark. But I don't care who's in the audience. I'm the least racist person in this room.
There is institutional racism in America. And we have always said, we've never lived up to it, that we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. Well, guess what? We have never, ever lived up to it. But we've always constantly been moving the needle further and further to inclusion, not exclusion. This is the first president to come along and says, that's the end of that. We're not going to do that anymore. We have to provide for economic opportunity, better education, better health care, better access to schooling, better access to opportunity to borrow money to start businesses. All the things we can do, and I've laid out a clear plan as to how to do those things, just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
My colleague Pratiksha Jindal there is also joining in from Ohio. Pratiksha there, do take us through all the takeaways from this debate. What really went by?
Well, it's safe to say that tonight's debate was not a train wreck, unlike the chaotic one of last time round. Both Joe Biden and Donald Trump talked about policy issues, and we heard a lot more about their stances on policy issues like racism, the pandemic, climate change, and the economy. Joe Biden went after President Trump over issues like the coronavirus and racism, which have been real hot-button issues during this election. Now remember, more than 220,000 Americans, that's 220,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus, and it's said that about 8 million have been infected. Now, this is an issue that is not going away from Mr. Trump, and the Democrats and Joe Biden have been attacking him constantly on this issue, saying he still does not have a plan on how to tackle this virus, even after so many deaths. President Trump, for his part, tried to defend himself by saying that, well, he did institute a ban on travel from China, and that he has pretty much done everything that Joe Biden would do if he were in power. On the issue of race, again, Joe Biden tried to corner President Trump by saying that institutional racism is a problem in America, which is something the Democrats have acknowledged. The Republicans and President Trump, on the other hand, don't think of racism as a major issue. What they say is that it is important to have law and order in the country, and they disapprove of the violence that has happened around these race protests.
Now, US President Donald Trump's family has finally added masks to their outfits for the final presidential debate held today. The president's outrage, including First Lady Melania Trump and children Ivanka, Tiffany and Eric, enter the debate arena there at Nashville, each with their noses and mouths fully covered. The Trump family faced criticism when they failed to wear facial coverings during their first debate on September 29th, and a massive coronavirus outbreak hit the White House days later. India is